What's up, YouTube? This is your boy John from the Jersey Shore, and I am back with you today to give you my review of the 2014 film, Spring. This one's a little different, folks. Spring was written by Justin Benson, and it was directed by Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead. Starring in this movie, we have Lou Taylor Pucci and Nadia Hilker. So this movie opens with our main character, Evan, tending to his sick mother. She has cancer, she's noticeably ill, and he's just sitting by her bedside taking care of her. Shortly thereafter, she passes away. He continues to talk to her and tell her how much he loves her and how grateful he was for her and what she did for him throughout his whole life. The next scene, you see him sitting in the bar of a restaurant. We later find out he actually works here. And while he's sitting in this bar, he's there with one of his buddies, and some dude comes in off the street and starts to give him a hard time. He bumps into him, and then he accuses him of trying to push up on his girlfriend, and the guy threatens Evan. Little does he know that Evan is about to snap. So after he messes with Evan, Evan beats this guy up pretty bad. Bitch! And goes out back. After he's been out back for a while, he's back there with one of his buddies drinking. The boss comes out, or his boss anyway, the manager comes out and lets him know that the owner showed up and Evan has now been fired from this job. So Evan and his buddy, they leave. They go back to Evan's place. They're standing out front. The buddy tells him, why don't you call a girl up? Just spend the night with somebody. You could probably use it. You could use that alone time. You know what I mean. There's no PC way for me to say that. So he does call a girl. The girl comes over, and after they get done taking care of business or doing whatever they're doing, the girl notices his passport, and she just talks to him a little bit about his passport. And she suggests to him, you've got a lot going on in your life right now. Maybe you just need to disconnect and unplug and get the hell out of here for a little while. Just go away somewhere and decompress. So shortly after this conversation, or basically right in the middle of this conversation, he passes out drunk. Is a very quick flash, time jump forward. You see that it's daylight out, the sun is shining on Evan, and the girl is gone. You hear a knock at the door. He pulls the curtain back and sees that the sheriff is now standing on his doorstep, undoubtedly looking for him because he beat the hell out of this guy last night. So Evan just starts to think, I lost my mother, I lost my job, I've got nothing keeping me here. He also mentioned at some point in the movie that his mother was an only child, his father was an only child, his father died of a heart attack, his mother shortly thereafter died of cancer, so he's an only child. He is alone. He has no family, he has no job, so what the hell? He gets on a bus and starts going to the airport, and on his way to the airport, you see him make a phone call and book a flight to Italy.
Hold on a second. Should I go to Italy?
So once Evan gets to Italy, he very quickly runs into these two British dudes. He's talking to them. They're drinking. They're having a good time. They're talking about partying and smoking weed. One of the two characters says to Evan, we're going to rent a car tomorrow. You want to chip in for some petrol? You can go with us. So he does. And now they are out in a rental car, just driving driving through Italy. So they make several stops along the way. Along the way, whatever. They make several stops, and they're stopping and they're partying, and then they keep going. Then they stop and they party and they keep going. Eventually, they're out walking, and Evan spots an absolutely stunningly beautiful girl in a red dress sitting next to a fountain.
Seeing this girl.
It's very clear that he is taken back by the beauty of this girl. Everything slows down. They film it in slow motion when he sees her. He turns, he eventually just walks away. But it's very obvious that this girl made an impression on him. Or is that left an impression on him? Oh, whatever. So Evan is later in the day sitting at a bar with these two guys, and he sees Louise. That's the girl in the red dress. Her name is Louise. He sees her standing up at a bar, and he approaches her. He gets up there, and he starts saying that he would like to take her out, that he would like to take her to just go have a cup of coffee, maybe a bottle of wine. But she immediately says, why don't we just skip all that and you go home with me? So he immediately, that sends off red flags in his mind. Are you going to rob me? Are you a hooker? You know, I'm not going to struggle drugs for you and your boss up my ass. That kind of stuff. So they have a little bit more banter back and forth. She walks away, but he says maybe a bottle of wine tomorrow night. So the next morning you see him wake up, again, light shining on him, again, looks hungover, but the two guys that he's been traveling around Italy with say, we're out of here, this is too expensive, we're going to take off. Are you going to go with us? And Evan says no. Evan is much more interested in going and finding Louise. So the two British guys take off, we never see them guys again, and Evan decides that he wants to stick around here for a while. So he goes and he finds a job working on a farm, and payment for working on the farm is that he gets to stay there rent-free. Well, it's not free. His rent is working on the farm, but you know what I mean. So he clearly plans to stick around here for a little while. This girl has obviously made an impression on him. So of course he finds Louise pretty quickly, and they begin a relationship. He is completely head over heels for this girl, but she seems to be kind of reserved. She's hiding something.
You're the most attractive person I've ever seen. But that doesn't outweigh that you might be a mental patient, and I gotta make sure you're the kind of crazy I can deal with.
No.
I'm a bunch of confusing biochemistry and some crazy hormones.
And it's a pretty damn big something. Wow. So this movie is one of those Blu-rays that I saw on the shelf at Best Buy. I knew nothing about this movie. I saw it there, read the back of it, and put it down, didn't buy it. And then a little while later, maybe a month or two later, I saw it there again, the price started to come down, I didn't buy it. Eventually, Halloween season came around. This was on the shelf for like $5, and I said, what the hell, I finally bought the thing. This was before I started to watch the trailers for movies on my iPhone before I bought them, which turned out to be a pretty good idea. And then after I got it home, when I did finally buy it, I put it on the shelf and I didn't watch it for Lord only knows how long. It was a pretty significant amount of time. When I eventually finally went, oh yeah, that movie Spring, I haven't seen that yet. I put that in my DVD player, and I was stunned by how good this movie was. I don't know how you could categorize this movie as anything other than a love story. It really is a love story. It's got a pretty significant twist to the love story. If it were only a love story, it may be an interesting movie, but because of the twist in this movie, you know pretty quick that something's not right with this girl in this movie, but you don't know exactly what that is. Eventually you do find out what that is, but the build up to that, there's a whole lot of character building with Evan at the beginning of this movie. And then eventually when he meets her, there's a little bit more character building with him as well as with her. You meet the guy who owns the farm. There's a little bit of backstory with him that actually plays into a decision that's made down the road with Evan. It all fits together very nicely. That twist fits into this very, very nicely. This movie's great. I don't even know. I'm trying my best not to tell you exactly what's going on in this movie, but what I will say is it's beautifully shot. The scenery in Italy is absolutely breathtaking. And my whole life, I'm afraid to fly, and my whole life I always said that if I got on a plane and went anywhere under my own, made the choice myself, it would be Italy. And watching a movie like this tells me exactly why I would like to go see Italy. It's absolutely stunning. And the acting in this movie was fantastic too. Primarily, it's only two characters. I mean, you do have Evan's boss on the farm. You have that guy, but you don't see him a whole heck of a lot. You have the two guys that Evan ran into at the beginning of the movie he was driving through Italy with, but eventually they go away and you don't see them a whole lot anyway. But Lou Taylor Pucci, you know him. It took me a couple minutes actually to recognize who this guy. I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't even recognize him. I knew I saw him, but could not place him. So when I pulled him up on IMDb, I saw that he was one of the characters in the remake of The Evil Dead. The reason that he looked familiar to me is because I love that movie. The reason I didn't recognize him immediately is he looks completely different. And then there's Nadia Hilker. She's fantastic in this movie, and I didn't even realize that I recognized her. I didn't recognize her. I pulled her up on IMDb to get a little bit more information about her, and lo and behold, she is actually the girl who plays Magna on The Walking Dead. She looks significantly different, but now that I go back and I look at the two pictures side by side, it's very obvious that that's her. And both of these actors were fantastic in this movie. They carried this story along flawlessly. The connection between the two is seamless. It's wonderful. You can tell by the way that they looked at each other that these two characters are in love. They did an outstanding job in this movie. So Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead, I watched a little bit of the bonus features. They wrote this movie, they directed this movie, they had hands-on with the special effects in this movie. They had a little bit to do, or all to do, with everything in this movie. This is truly their baby and their project, and it is a wonderful project. The product, the end product, is spectacular. If you have not, my guess is that most of you have not seen this movie or even heard of this movie. But I implore you, if you have a chance to watch this movie, watch this movie. It is fantastic. So 2014 spring, I'm telling you, find it and watch it. It's wonderful. All right, folks, that is going to do it for my review of the 2014 film Spring. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you really like this video and you are enjoying my content, do me a huge personal favor. Click that subscribe button, and after you click that subscribe button, remember to ring that notification bell. Take care of yourself, take care of each other, have a kick-ass day, and thank you for watching.